Okay, Itamexistico, good day. It is September 29th, 2017 in the lunar cycle Awakat Sikitsum, the deer moon. And I am a day early for Orange Shirt Day. I'm going to wear one tomorrow as well. But for those of you who are not from Canada on my YouTube channel, or who are from Canada and have no idea what Orange Shirt Day is, what it is it's not a tribute, it's not a memorial, but it's part of the ongoing process that we're calling truth and reconciliation. And that process is an attempt to change the relationship for the better between First Nations of Canada, Aboriginal people of Canada, and the rest of Canadian society. And it started off with having some restitution for people who were alive who experienced the residential schools. And so there was a payout that happened. But, you know, just having that kind of restitution is not going to change the relationship. And we understand this, and so we're moving forward with other processes. Orange Shirt Day, where this comes from, is from a little girl named Phyllis in British Columbia, who was, of course, taken away from her family, like all Native children, sent to an ecclesiastic residential school. She had on a bright orange, brand new t-shirt that she really loved the day she was taken, and that was stripped away from her, and you know, she didn't get it back. So now, September 30th is the day that was chosen, but it's really for this time of year. And this time of year is the time when children were taken. And so this is the time of year to wear the orange shirt. So this is part of the coming to grips with the history of what happened here, it's not a pretty history. I mean, Canada kind of promotes itself as being the country, the colonial extension of Britain that was soft, I mean, in terms of its approach to colonization. That the western side of Canada was really just won over by moral superiority when the mounted police came out here and settled all the craziness that was going on. And that was right here in Lethbridge where that happened. Like, this is the place where the Whiskey Fort whoop-up was that brought about the origin of the Mounties, the famous Canadian Mounties, right? All of that history converges right here where I am. And so it's a powerful place to be living and trying to make one's way socially, navigating not only this history but the current context. And that's where what I really want to talk about in this video, and I'm just going to mention it briefly, but the problem with the orange shirt, I'm going to wear my orange shirt. I wore it today. I'm going to wear another orange shirt tomorrow. I might even wear one Sunday. The problem with the orange shirt is that it's still evoking the residential school history alone, right? It's not getting to where we need to go to with truth and reconciliation, which is bringing it current. Because this process is not just about history, in my mind at least. This process is about the current circumstances, and we still live in a very apartheid social reality up here, where you have natives over here and everybody else over here. And even in spaces where we mix, we have a special space within that space for native people. We're carrying forward with that apartheid all the time. And even when we try to, this is a big part of my reality, is I try to take what I've learned from being immersed in Blackfoot communities and share that more publicly. There are occasions every year where I get a lot of criticism for doing that, and from Blackfoot communities, because of the colonization that's gone on. Like my late friend Narcissus Blood would say, there are colonial outposts in our minds, and so there's a part of the community that doesn't want to share itself with the colonizers, and that's, how can you can't blame them, right, for not wanting to share. At the same time, if we don't share and we don't communicate and we don't because the thing is, everybody who's native lives in both worlds, right? Live in the native reality in that culture, and in the mainstream reality in this culture. So they're multicultural, and I'm like that. In fact, nowadays there's this new saying, there's this new label called two-eyed seeing that's attached to people who are non-native, who are embedded in native communities and know both cultures. I don't know why two-eyed seeing isn't applied to all native people as well, because they got the same scenario, the same characteristic. It's another racist thing. We're still living in an extremely racist and apartheid cultural and social reality here in southern Alberta, at least. And we're not going to be able to overcome that just by way of apologies for historical traumas, because those are in the past. I mean, they're carried forward through contemporary, what would you call it, dysfunctions that derive really from, family dysfunctions and social dysfunctions that derive from that residential school experience. So the history component, it has to be there. But the problem is, we don't want, you don't want non-natives to be glomming on to the history component, because that's the easy thing to grapple with. We can recognize that history easily. People can apologize for it. But because they're not the player in it, it's an easy thing. On the other hand, fixing our contemporary, our right now relationships is really, really difficult. And that's where we need to go. And so while I wear the orange t-shirt, I try to make efforts in my life to bring it out of that historical context, and try to help people to understand that there's an ongoing problem here. We can fix it if we want to, but the only way we can do that is to recognize that it's not just a thing of history, right? So I guess that's all I've got to say on that matter. Ken.